Shall we go?
Yep, action.
For the camera's sake, I'm Zach. I work with the lighting agency. Phone number 303-455-1012. This is the lighting control panel for this building, SCO Westminster ED. A couple things to know about the panel. It is an LC&D panel. It's made by Acuity. There's the tech support phone number right on the front. Lightingcontrols.com is the website. You can get users manuals, product help, whatever. And right there is the project number. So if you have to call into tech support, they're going to ask you what's your project number. That's the project number right there. Okay. Kind of the front of this panel, this is where your photocell plugs in. And this is really actually all you guys are using on this job is the photocell. This would be where the RJ45s, the Cat5 plugs in if you had digital switches. You don't. So all you guys are literally doing is turning your lights on and off with the photocell. So this is where it ties in. Okay. Each one of these little buttons here is a relay control. So if I push that button, you heard the relay click. Little light turns on, relay off. Okay. You have a hand auto switch. Hand turns all relays on. Auto puts it back into programming mode. Okay. Of course, panel schedule on the side here, so you guys know what is on each relay. And finally, this photocell right now is programmed to control all relays in the panel. Alright, so to look at how we have it programmed, really easy to do. This is kind of the home screen. This is where it's always going to default to. If it's sitting long enough, it will always come back to this screen. It tells you sunrise, sunset information, current time, current date, and what the photocell is reading. 988. Those are not foot candles, that's just arbitrary units of measurement that the photocell sees. Okay. If we press the tab button to get into the user menu, we have another option for manually overriding relays. If we go into manual override, press tab to go to the load, scroll up to the load we want to override, press enter, the relay clicks, the little light turns on, and you see that turns into a square. Square means lights on, dash means lights off. Push it again, light turns on. So that's another option to manually override your lights. Review schedule. This is where the actual schedule lives. If we come down into schedule number 1, we can see that the photocell is controlling our lights. So what we're doing is we're telling the lights, we're basically enabling the photocell from 10 a.m. till 9:59 a.m. the next day. So there's 1 minute a day where the photocell doesn't work between 9:59 and 10 a.m. and the rest of the day it actually does control the lights. Okay. If we need to adjust the sensitivity of this photocell, we can highlight photocell, press enter. And here are the set points. So there's 1 minute delays for when the lights turn on and off. And if you look here, off when light level rises above 600, on when it falls below 400. And since our current reading with a good day of sunlight is 988, those settings should work pretty well, but if they need to be adjusted, you can just highlight them and press scroll up or scroll down to adjust. Okay. Back out, back out. It's controlling group number 1, and in there you can see the group number 1 contains LCP1 relays 1 through 16. Adding or removing a relay from a group is really easy. If you go to the load, you scroll up to the relay you want to add or remove, press enter. If it's in the list, it pulls it out. You can see that 5 is no longer in that list. Or it will put it in if it's not in the list already. And when you press exit, it'll ask you if you want to save. Just press yes. Okay? I like to build in a backup to the photocell, and that's a time clock. This thing has built-in astronomical clock features. So the backup is lights will turn on at dusk, and they'll turn back off at dawn plus a half an hour, so half an hour after dawn. So the intention of that is that if the photocell fails, the astronomical clock can take over operation and get the lights working until the photocell can be replaced. And that astro clock backup is controlling the same group number 1 as the photocell is. Important to note that the system is a last command received system, so it doesn't matter if the time clock fired first or the photocell fired first. It doesn't actually override the other, just whatever the last command was. So if the photocell turned the lights off and then it failed while the lights were off, the time clock could still turn them back on, is basically what I'm saying. Okay, another way to look at your groups, if you come down to group loads, press enter. There's group number 1, tab down, press enter, and there's the same screen, group number 1. Now here's a cool little trick. If you want to override group number 1 on, you can have group 1 highlighted, press scroll up, and it turns the entire group on. Scroll down, turns the entire group off. All right. You don't have any switches to program, so I'm not even going to talk about that. If we come down to setup menu, and we go down to system setup menu, there's the set time and date. If the time and date is off, you can change it. If you go in there, change the hour, minute, second, day, month, year. Whenever you're done and you want to save your changes, just highlight, hit enter, and press enter, and it will save your changes. Okay. If we want to go to system options now, select location for the Astro Clock, list of cities. It knows we're in Denver, Colorado, which is latitude of about 40. It's 39 point something. So that's going to be the Astro Clock information. And finally, daylight setup. Panel knows daylight savings time based on this information right here. So if the government ever decides they want to screw with daylight savings time again, you can always adjust when daylight savings starts and when daylight savings ends in that menu there. That's pretty much it for this panel and what we're doing on this site.